Hi, my name is John from Japanese Knife Imports, and today we're going to do a video about the angles of approach when sharpening. Some of you may notice that our sharpening setup here is a little bit different, and this is a system that we've been testing recently, and I gotta be honest with you, I kind of like it. So you'll probably be seeing this from our store pretty soon. Anyways, today the knife that I chose to do this demonstration with is a 210mm Wagyuto by the same maker that makes our Zakuri knives. This one is blue number 1. The reason that I chose this knife is because it has a wide bevel, so it will be more clear when we're doing these things the effect of what different angles of approach have on this bevel. However, for those of you who have knives with smaller bevels, the same principles apply. You'll just be able to see them less because the bevel is smaller. Anyways, the stone that we have here is one of our Takashima Awasedo. It's a natural stone, leaves kind of a cool misty finish you can see here. Also, it's just kind of fun to use, so that's why I picked it today. So, let's get on with this. When sharpening, usually I recommend that people start with a 45-degree angle of approach. And a lot of people think that this is just tradition and the way that I've been taught, or whatever it is. But there's actually a functional purpose for this, and I'd like to explain that to you. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be 45 degrees. What it really should be is that your arm has kind of like a straight line and is very relaxed from your body. And so you don't have your wrist crank, one way or another. It's just kind of like a natural flowing movement. So when you have that kind of approach and it ends up being about 45 degrees, you're going to see that your forward and backward motion keeps your wrist in that same way. So this kind of motion actually makes a difference with regard to how your bevel finish is going to look. And what I mean by that is consider the forces. When you're pressing forward and backward on your knife, you're going to have wobble in your blade. If you have your blade at a perpendicular approach to the stone, that wobble is going to be severe. You're going to be pressing into it this way and pulling back on it this way. And you're going to notice that your bevel is not going to be as even when you're doing especially larger bevels you'll see on single bevel knives. So what you do is you bring it over to a 45 or so degree angle approach. And when you're pressing forward and backward now, you kind of have a displacement of force. So your force isn't kind of causing as much wobble because the blade wobbles this way instead of this way. So you get a lot less wobble in your stroke, and you can get a much more consistent angle and much more consistent finish. So when I sharpen, I don't switch hands generally when I'm doing the second side of the knife. And this kind of causes a problem because I can't sharpen at a 45-degree angle of approach on this second side of the knife. The handle gets in the way of the stone. So I take it to a perpendicular degree. I have to be very, very cautious here about how my force is going and how much pressure I'm putting and how much wobble there is. And so when you work on this particular part of the knife, it's important to be very, very aware of what's going on with your knife. Wobble, angle, all that kind of stuff. As you move down, you're going to transition back into that 45 or so degree angle of approach. And what that's going to do for you then is give you the same benefit of displacement of forces as you're sharpening the rest of this blade over here. You just need to be very aware over here. However, it is possible to sharpen by switching hands this way. If you do this, then you can have that same 45 degree angle of approach the entire time as you sharpen. When you sharpen that way, you're going to notice that your bevel has kind of a nice even finish from the shinogi line down to the edge. And the reason for that is that you're able to get more even pressure and less wobble through your stroke. Just to give you an idea of the kind of finish that that's going to look like, I'm going to do this side really quick here. And you can see here that it's got a nice even finish all the way through. So that explains a little bit more why we use these angles of approach that we use when sharpening. So remember, let your wrist be relaxed, keep your arm straight with your wrist, don't have it bent so much one way or another, and kind of let it flow naturally, and keep that angle about 45 degrees so that you're not wobbling so much as you sharpen this way. Thank you very much for watching. This is John at Japanese Knife Imports.